In this update, Tropical Storm Celia is gaining traction well off the coast of Mexico. So our third named storm of the Pacific hurricane season has turned out to be a slow burner, a very large tropical cyclone, currently located at 14.2 north, 104.1 degrees west, putting it well to the south of the coast of Mexico. Right now, as of 11 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Central, it had winds of 45 miles per hour, that's 70 kilometers per hour, with a pressure around 1001 millibars, moving west-northwest at 11 miles per hour. A tropical storm on the Saffir-Simpson scale, it's expected to reach hurricane status in the next few days as it continues to parallel the coast at some distance. Here it is right now in its current position as of 11 a.m. once again. The northern wind field is not there just yet, according to the National Hurricane Center, with the southern wind field extending out 50 nautical miles. It is currently 469 kilometers from Lázaro Cárdenas, 545 from Manzanillo, 729 from Puerto Vallarta, and 1145 from Cabo San Lucas. There are currently no watches or warnings in effect for the storm right now, and it's unlikely that we'll see any unless we get a significant deviation in the storm's track. However, there could be risk from high surf and swells along the coast of Mexico, something to watch out for. And here is some more information about that. Rip currents being the primary threat from Tropical Storm Celia, which will increase along the coast of southwestern Mexico today and spread northward along the coast tomorrow. It will then eventually reach the southern part of the Baja California Peninsula by the time we get to Saturday. Life-threatening surf and rip current conditions are possible throughout this. And by the way, that's Friday for the Baja California Peninsula. So here it is right now, what we're expecting will happen to the storm's wind field as it continues to move towards the northwest. By this point becomes a hurricane around about Friday into Saturday, then moving off towards the northwest. As you can see, staying away from the populated land masses as we enter next week. It looks like it might survive a little bit longer than Blas has so far. Perhaps it's been a bit of a trailblazer for Celia, and by Tuesday we still expect it to be active, and so does the National Hurricane Center there on their forecast cone. And a decent spread of all of those estimates on the storm's wind speed right now, somewhere between 40 and 45 miles per hour. So National Hurricane Center doesn't put any significant land masses in the cone, although you note there that the hurricane strength part begins on Friday morning and ends on Sunday morning, and that's something like what we expect. Here's the chance of tropical storm force winds. None of the populated land masses are under any percent chance, or in the coloured areas there, which is 5% or more. Some of those outer islands that are uninhabited have a much higher chance, as you can see. Those islands get it from storms throughout the year, all the time in the eastern Pacific. GFS is a little bit bullish, suggesting that Celia may become a Category 2 hurricane and then move off towards the west, and not gaining latitude towards its later days there, and still holding on to tropical storm strength for a good while. Strong winds not getting far from the Mexico coast, so that may give some areas a run for their money, and a very big wind field for Eastern Pacific standards for a brief time there, for a large amount of time actually, and then it continues westward with another tropical cyclone behind it eventually. This is the sort of a mock-up of the water vapor imagery, what we would expect to see over the next few days. A very moist center, and it does hold off partially, and probably actually more than partially due to its size, holding off all of that dry air that's lying in wait out there over the open ocean. The other part as to why it might survive longer is obviously, as mentioned, because of Blas paving the way just a little bit ahead of Celia. Well then, let's take a look at rainfall, and this is what we expect from Celia now. Some of its peripheries will cause some elevated rainfall amounts over mountainous regions of western and southwestern Mexico, although we are not expecting huge amounts of rain. We're only generally looking at maybe 3 or 4 inches, only 1 or 2 along the coastal areas where the big populations are, but in some extreme circumstances you might get 4 to maybe 6 inches over some of those mountain areas. All of the heaviest rain will remain well out to sea. Incidentally, in those out to sea areas, it's going to be well in excess of 20 inches, so thank goodness that this storm has stayed away from land. Of course, the warm sea surface temperatures help, which are currently at 26 to 27 degrees Celsius. Those will start to decrease a little bit once the storm gets further out to sea. By around day 3 they'll drop to 25, by day 4 they'll drop to around 24 degrees Celsius, and by day 5 they'll drop to around 22. So it will get much cooler for the storm later on in that period, and then it will start to lose its tropical characteristics. Here's a look at Celia right now, and you can see, compared to little old Blas there off towards the northwest, the remnants of it, just a swirl there, Celia is a very large tropical cyclone compared to that, and you can see the banding extending out towards the north, just about reaching the coast of Mexico. That would be responsible for some of those rain totals over the next few days. Also, quite a bit of convection blowing up there on the northern side of the storm, which when you look at it in isolation you can almost think that it's something else, but that is also part of Celia's influence. So the storm will continue to move west-northwestwards there. Let's change the satellite view and take a look at some of the infrared somewhere around here. Let's switch it up. There is the infrared right now. You can see here this does show areas off to the west, but none of the clouds from the remnants of Blas register at all. And there's Celia, and you can see here on the infrared view why it's not intensifying very much, and that's because of lots of wind shear, mainly from the eastern side, which is affecting the storm and slowing its intensification rate down. Nonetheless, models are still confident that it will strengthen towards hurricane status like the National Hurricane Center is expecting. Let's take a look at some more views. This is a wider shot showing everything that's going on in the Eastern Pacific Basin there, and Celia's influence. Wind shear over the last few hours having more of a done more of a number on it in the last few hours leading up to now. Only now is it starting to look a little bit better on this longer range satellite image shot. There's the infrared sandwich imagery, I should say, and there's the water vapor, and Blas once again unrecognizable on there, and there's some more infrared imagery of Celia throughout today. And here's a look from Mexico's perspective. You can once again see some of that convection blowing up over land, but generally it is mostly still staying out to sea. And this one showing the lightning flashes as well in all of those little coloured dot regions. Those are where all the lightning flashes are currently going on right now. A bit of light show that was going on just off the shore near Puerto Vallarta not so long ago, although that appears to have died down. Well, that's it on Celia at this time. We'll have another update on this as and when necessary, although the storm is heading out to sea, so no guarantees on that. But we'll see you again soon.